Good morning, Mike. Can you hear me all right?
Hi. Hi, Gordon. Yes, we're live now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Should I stop the timer now?
Um, no, give me just a second here. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you can go whenever. Good morning, everyone. Good evening, wherever you are around the world tuning in today. We're going to talk about what stocks trade now. In 60 minutes, the US market will open, and I'm going to give you at least one, possibly three ideas of what you can trade that I think have a good chance of being the next excellent trade for you to take. I'm going to give you a overview also of what's going on in the stock market this coming week. It is the biggest earnings week of the year with all the biggest names reporting. And the way they report, but more importantly, the way the market reacts to those reports is going to have a big impact on what's going to happen in the US markets for the next couple of months. And I think that you just can't afford, if you're playing stocks, if you're doing stock market trades, you just can't afford not to pay attention this week. And you have to know how to pay attention. It's one thing to say who beat or who missed earnings, but it's much more important, of course, to be able to recognize how investors react to that, because that's what tips the hand. That's what tells you what investors are thinking. It's really an interesting thing that a company can release good news and yet investors don't want to hold that company. And how would you know? It's the reaction. It's the kind of reaction they do. We will cover that and go through that today. But first, let me also well, let me give you the third headline. We're going to talk about cryptocurrencies potential big running rebound. That is long-term upward trend going and hitting new highs and all that possibility. Is now the time for the crypto markets or for investors and traders to buy in and get ready for a big run up in crypto. So I want to try and get to all of that today on what to trade now with me, Gordon Scott, and with you. So glad you're here. Let's get right to the first chart that I think is going to be worth your consideration. Now, you could probably guess what this is because if you've been listening to me a lot, you know that I'm constantly always talking about, that's right, Apple. Apple is the trade that I think has the best chance for investors to take advantage of for this week. Now, you might say, well, wait a second. Apple is going to report after earnings, or after the bell tomorrow. Why would I buy in now, a day before earnings? Well, that's the deal. I'm not suggesting that you buy in before earnings. I do think that you wait until after. I don't think that Apple is really a great risk. It's not a bad risk. I think that they're as you can see right here, there's a big reason why Apple is probably going to keep going higher. And as a result, the rest of the stock market, but it's not going to be just straight up, okay? What's going on with a lot of earnings is that a lot of companies will have over the past couple of weeks, they will have beat their numbers, and yet they sell off right away. Okay, let's go back and look at Netflix here really quick. Okay, so Netflix actually had a pretty good last quarter, even though there was this negative surprise, right? And they added 1.5 million new subscribers, but that was at a lower rate. Okay, so those things were genuinely bad news. And so when you get bad news, what you expect is this company to sell off. And it did. But since it did, look what's been happening. Somebody is buying it up. Okay. Of course, we know that the market in general, the stock market in general, has. Let me get rid of those. Those are from another. So it dipped, but look what it's done. It's just roared right back and made a new high. Okay, so this is what happened the last week, which was pretty tough on our FAZ trade. We had a great one day. I hope if you took that trade, I hope you took profits before, like Tuesday morning or something. But anyway, here's where we are now. Is it possible that the market's going to turn around and come back down? Sure is. But what I'm thinking that I'm seeing a lot of, especially in the financial sector. Let's go back to J.P. Morgan. Is this? We had really good earnings information. See, this was an 18% surprise. They came in 18% above what they were expected to do, and yet they sold off on that day, and since then they've kept selling. So the financial sector is just getting beat up all over the place. Here's Goldman Sachs. They beat on earnings, 46% surprise. So of course the stock is down by 4% since then. It just biggles all up, and it's just we saw that really persistently in the financial sector. But we had Tesla is coming up today, right? So this will be really interesting to watch. So Tesla's estimate is 94 cents earnings per share, and we'll see after the market opens. After the market closes, how they report. Much more important is how will everybody react. See, Tesla has this big downward move. They've kind of lifted off. Unlike the rest of the market, they haven't roared up and hit new highs, local or all time for that matter, of course. But what about this? This is a very ugly shape. See, so all of this is shaping up to be really kind of, nail biting for a lot of people, because it seems like there is a lot more people looking for an excuse to sell. They're doing what we call sell the news. They've been buying the rumor. When the news comes out, then they sell it, right? It's like, we don't expect the news to get good. So I really feel like it's dangerous to hold on to Apple through earnings for that reason. But you see, what Apple has done is this QQQ, this line right here is the NASDAQ 100. So Apple was trailing behind it, and now it's up above it, which means that Apple investors are more bullish on Apple than they are about the rest of the market. So we've got this sell the news attitude, and we've got Apple running a little hot compared to its index. I just feel like there's a lot of potential for selling. That being said, I think Apple's going to beat its earnings estimate. So the big trade is not buy it in 60 minutes from now. The big trade is buy it on Wednesday and try to pick it up on a bargain. Because what happens with Apple is, see, check this out. Here is earnings. Earnings were good. Earnings were fantastic last time for Apple by all objective estimates. But people found stuff to complain about. So down it comes, the dividend pays, and then it bottoms right after the dividend. See that? And so it might be the case that it's worth hanging on to Apple for a while. But see, it jumps way up because the news was good, and then it sells way off. All right. Let me run back to another
Hi,
earnings.
Gordon. Sorry.
Oh.
Hi, sorry, Gordon. We can't see your screen.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Let's fix that problem. I'm just off and running there. Okay, yeah. Hopefully that's chart's not showing. I can't see the chart. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. Appreciate the feedback. There it is. Let me run back and see. Here's where earnings hits and it sells off. Then there's the dividend. Now in this case back here, February, the whole market kind of swung. So that was rough on Apple. Here's Apple last quarter, sells off, finds some support, and then come up. But see, right now, Apple is really running hot, and so I feel like it's leading the rest of the market higher. I feel like, yeah, you could probably pick up a dip, but there's just not going to be a whole lot of chance for this big drop. I mean, could be wrong. Could be that, hey, wait on Apple 2 or 3 weeks and then jump in. If that were true, though, it would really drag the rest of the market with it in a very serious way. But here's another reason I don't think that that we're on top for that. This is Microsoft, which would be my number 2 idea. Both Apple and Microsoft are going to they're set to report their earnings tomorrow after the market, one right after the other. And Microsoft has just had one surprise, positive surprise after another. I fully expect that Microsoft will have another positive surprise. So Apple and Microsoft, both of them might come in with really good news. They'll open high, but then people will sell them off and you'll be able to pick them up on a dip and go. I feel like that's the probably the best possible trade setup. So of course, Microsoft here has the gap trade signal, right? Gap to a brand new high, open and close higher. So the entry was right there. Just, Friday's open. That was a good entry. But with earnings, I would, I don't want to do that. I think there's a little fluff built in. I think we'll come back and challenge this gap potentially. So picking up Microsoft right around this level here, where, what are we looking at? Let me go ahead and change that to, come on guys, give me there we go, regular price. And we'll get rid of QQQ comparison for a second. There we go. So picking up Microsoft right around 288 and change, anywhere in there, maybe as low as 285. So between 285 and 288, that's where to pick up Microsoft, I believe. And now you might have to give it a long stop loss, give it some room, say 273 stop loss. So that's going to be like $10 to $12 because, we might get that post earnings swoon. But, this is one you could actually hold on to. And unlike FAZ, where you got to buy it and then quickly take your profits, this one, it's a long running trend, potentially all the way into the next quarter. So that's the idea that I'm putting out there. And Apple, same kind of situation. See how Microsoft is stronger than Apple, though? I mean, because Apple is not making a new recent high. It's probable that you've got a lot of hedge funds that want to take profits, that they want to sell out some of their Apple, which is why I really think it's important to try to pick up Apple on a bargain. And that could be anywhere from 147 to 145. I mean, you could try to get really aggressive, but at that point, then just wait till next week to buy because it'll take that long to turn around. So I feel like, grab it here between 140. See, I think what's going to happen is there's going to be some news. People are going to sell it. They'll sell a little bit too much, and then all of a sudden it'll come back up. So that's why I think you can grab it. Now, that being said, it's like, well, what if Apple opens at a brand new high, 150 or higher, right? That's real tricky. Normally, I'd say don't buy it. Just sit back, let it sell. And I think that's still going to be the right answer this time, right? Oh, yeah, Chris last. When will they sell off? Right after earnings? Yes. The next morning, Microsoft and Apple, the next morning, people, wherever it opens, it'll probably start selling down because it's sell the news that just got published. Of course, some people will sell the night before, in the pre-market, but I actually don't think that they'll be selling. I think they'll be buying in the pre-market. So they'll be driving the price up in the pre-market, and then it'll open at whatever level it does, and it'll sell off from there. That's what I expect out of both Apple and Microsoft. However, if it doesn't do that, that's the big news. Let's imagine that Apple misses, okay? And so, of course, if it misses, then it'll end up down here somewhere, 143 or lower. And then the next day, um, you've got to really pay attention. Apple misses earnings for whatever reason, and they sell off. Are they going to open and just tank? You know, that's what they should do. They should open and then tank to a new low if, in fact, they miss earnings. So very clearly, all this move right here is pricing in the idea that Apple's going to have a great quarter. People have been buying it up, expecting Apple is going to do well. That's already priced in. Now, are these large cap? Yes. Would tech be good through summer? Well, I mean, we're halfway through the summer, and my suggestion is yes, tech's going to be good through summer in anticipation of the retail season, to the fall to Christmas retail season. The investors are going to look at this and say, hey, they're going to make new gadgets, they're going to do all sorts of interesting things, and people are going to spend money on tech this second half of the year. And so I do think that the tech is good, like, for here going forward, which is why I say when they dip, that then they make for a good buy. So, all of this is priced in. Apple is about to have a great quarter, and Microsoft even better. That's what the price action is telling us. But clearly, right through here, you got somebody that felt like, man, that was too much of a fantastic run. I gotta take my profit, and so they did. I mean, I did that. I bought that calendar spread that I talked about a couple weeks ago. This calendar spread on Apple, I put that in right in this area. Maybe after that day, probably after that day, because tall range, break new high. Yeah. Anyway, and it was fantastic. It was, I risked $20, made $80 kind of situation with that calendar spread. It was a really great 4-to-1 payout. So yeah, of course, I took the profits. In fact, weirdly enough, I totally called the top that day. However, we're right back up to that level. See, right back to that level. So what does that tell you? People are super enthusiastic about what's coming from Apple. As a result, when the news breaks, if it's bad news, all of this should come off, and they should break down to new lows if it's bad news. But what if it doesn't do that? If the news is bad and the price comes down and all of a sudden starts coming back up a little, it just sort of finds a base, maybe a doji day like that right there. If that were to happen, then, it's the market telling you we are super bullish on Apple. Yeah, bad news, but we're super bullish, right? And so that's an example of how watch what they do, not what they say, kind of thing, right? So here is Apple. What if the news is good? Well, it will open high, and then if it sells off, what are we doing? We're tilting that we're not really interested in a whole lot of good news. And so I think, we could see a sell-off. I feel like what we're going to see is it's going to jump up, it's going to come down, and then it's going to come back up, which tells you however much they sell off, all of a sudden, all of these people that just bought it right up and did the same thing to the rest of the market, they're going to plow into Apple, and it's going to take off and be a good run. So that's why I think Apple and Microsoft are the big trades for this week. But what about for today? Right? I mean, like, what are we buying in 60 minutes from now? Before I get to that, I'm going to go back to last week. So here was this AEHR trade. I don't know if you remember this, but I was telling you that it was up, really high in the pre-market. I thought it was going to come down. I thought you'd be able to pick it up clear down here at 420. Never even did get there, but it had this fantastic run to $8. So this is why you got to be careful. Sometimes it's best to just go ahead and buy the open. Now here, I didn't think that was a good idea, although there was still, if you'd have bought that open, there was still an opportunity to, actually we were looking at it when it was up at this level. If you'd have bought that open, you had a fantastic opportunity over the next 2-3 days. Even by now, it's still not done. This, however, I think is another one to watch for the coming week, right? Somewhere in here, look at the possibility of buying this in the fives and hang on for a run to 8 or 9. That could be another situation. But the reason I brought this up is not because I think this is a fantastic one, and certainly is not today's trade. I want to show you how I found this and give you an idea of what you can be doing. If you're in the Singapore market and you're like, I'm sleepy, I want to go to bed, just give me the stock to buy, right? Well, I'll do you one better. I'll show you how I found it and how you could find it week after week if you want. So there's a website out there called Market Chameleon, and marketchameleon.com does a good job of pre-market stuff. And most of the time, you can't really get a good look at pre-market stuff, except unless you live in Singapore and you're studying it for that hour before the market opens, and you need a trade to put on for the next 2 or 3 days. Yeah, then you have this fantastic opportunity. So anyway, I'm going to suggest that here, if you go to stocks and pre-market trading, now this is actually something that some of the best proprietary trading shops do. Is they look at stuff in the pre-market, but they're looking for a certain kind of thing, not just like, hey, what's doing well. We're looking for stuff that well, all right. So here is most active. We've got gainers, right? Now this is the Mirage stuff. So I'm going to sort these by market cap. I want to see if I were to support by percent change, right? This is what a rookie will do, and the mistake a rookie will make. So we got MARA and Riot. Actually, Riot might be really interesting. We'll see if it shows up over here on most active. But you look at these prices, and well, actually, wow, I'm eating my own words. This actually, the gainers have some really interesting stuff in here. What you often see though is that there'll be this huge number, 20, 30, 40% for the day. And then you look over here and it's a $4 stock becoming a $6 or $8 stock or whatever, right? And that's shiny stuff waiting for you to snap at it. Over here, same thing in the most active, we've got that very low price stuff going on. Let's go sort these by change. Yeah, okay. So see this TYME, IMV, and this kind of thing. It just is. You got to be careful. This right here's Mara and Riot though, and they're on both columns. So now all of a sudden I'm paying close attention to these. All right. Why am I interested in Mara and Riot? Well, because they have large market cap, I know it's going to take a lot of buying for them to be up 19% pre-market. So the thing I really want to see pre-market is I want to see much higher than usual volume. So it's a relative volume relative to what normally happens in the pre-market, right? So we got a big gain, but we also have a tremendous amount of volume going up. And usually this happens because you've got some story on it. So let's go have a look at Riot and see what Riot blockchain. Oh, well, Riot last traded at 33.44 the pre-market hours with a combined volume of 534K shares. Its average pre-market volume has been 130 over the past 20 days. Then we got a high and low of 33.80 and 32.54. We're going to remember high 33s and mid 32s. We're going to come back to that. The last trade is 1% above its pre-market VWAP price of 33.10. So it's already well above the VWAP. Nice volume at VWAP chart right there, 32.96 to 33. See, that's where a lot of it's coming in the pre-market. So to me, that's kind of support. So Riot Blockchain. Let's see what kind of news they got. Let's go see whether we're going to like, yeah, there it is. Sorry. Riot or Mara better. Oops. R-I-O-T, yes, spelling. And so news right here on TradingView. Riot says unaudited Bitcoin production grows more than 400% in June and starts capacity expansion. Riot Blockchain announces June production. U.S. stocks mixed. Cryptocurrency stocks fall in pre-market trading on China crackdown. That was a while ago. That was June 28 or 22. So June 28, June, July. So we don't really even have serious news for why Riot is up in the pre-market. We're looking at coming in right up in here as a gap, all right? Well, remember, I teased in the headline that we want to look at, hey, is it time for crypto to take off, right? The mere fact that I'm asking that and the fact that, why am I asking that, right? Because we've got Bitcoin up a lot. So let's just jump over to Bitcoin real quick here. We'll come right back to Riot. Okay, so we're going to save this for a little bit, but now's the right time to talk about it since we're talking about how we find the next awesome stock. So right there, see these big days? See those big tall candles on Bitcoin? Each of these big tall candles did not have follow through. This one, maybe, but none of them broke a new high, local high or anything, right? This one isn't a rebound. See, this is like people selling out and other people jumping in and snapping it up. And none of those were followed on by an upward trend. Today's action is different. Over the past 24 hours, we've seen Bitcoin do this, right? And looks like we've got Elon Musk and is that Jack Dorsey or anyway, Bitcoin conference, Bloomberg's Mike McGlone. Anyway, you got people talking about it, big guys talking about it. We got institutional money saying, okay, that's enough support. We better jump in. Not all institutional money, of course, but some. So this is the first big jump we've had that doesn't look like all of this stuff, all of this rebound buying, right? This is commitment buying. This is somebody coming in with new money saying, I'm interested. And so how would you capture that in the stock market? If you weren't in there buying cryptocurrency, you're just buying stocks, the answer is Riot. Riot has earnings coming up. And so that's going to be an interesting one because past couple of earnings was a positive surprise, even though they were expected to lose money. They made money. And see, there it is again. Good news, and what happens? Well, it took a week or two and then huge sell-off, right? This probably had more to do with crypto's dive than anything else. And this was negative surprise. And then what happened? It's gone up since then. So to me, you got Riot here as there are buyers at this price. They started buying right when it got back to that price, and now they can't wait. They're jumping in again. So I really like the look of this one. But once again, let me get the volume up because the volume is often the pre-market story that you really want to be looking at. Oops, wrong. So volume, okay. See this? We had big volume, but lately it's been very light. And what's happening now? We've got 5 times the normal pre-market volume happening. Let's find out exactly what volume level is up. I'm gonna move this pin to the left scale. Okay, so this is a 7 million share trade on average, about 6 million shares on average, right? And it's up 500,000 so far. We still have an hour to go. And so 1/6 of all of its trading is happening pre-market. pre-market, before the market is even open, they got 500,000 shares traded already. So, well, 500,000, it's going to be like right there. And, something like 20% to 33% of the stock's volume is in those first 5 minutes when it trades. So if this thing has already gone 1/6, then we're looking at a volume that could be as high as this one was here, probably about 12 million share day or more, right? Depending on how many people keep buying after it opens. So you see what a 12 million share day did there, gap up, keep going. Very possible we're in for that, gap up and keep going on Riot. Riot is going to open somewhere up in here. 33, well, the 33.80, isn't that what we saw? Yeah, so it's going to open up in the mid 33s. Clear up here, huge gap, right? This is people, investors in Riot, without a big headline. This is just Bitcoin. Just people saying Bitcoin had a great day, time to buy the stock connected with cryptocurrency. And so again, I feel like this is brand new stuff, commitment buying. So there it is. I would say that's it. Now let me compare MARA, and you can see for yourself. Marathon Digital Holdings looks almost like the same thing. Yeah, both of these are going to be being driven by the crypto trade. And so if you're not in the crypto market and you are in the stock market, these are your trades. How about the volume? What we're looking at an average of about 5 million shares. Let's go look at what Mara is doing in the pre-market. We saw Riot. Let's have a look at Mara. So you can see you get some really great info from the pre-market stuff at Market Chameleon. Mara traded at 29.25, combined total volume of 590K. See, that's just so far. We still have, I mean, that count will probably increase as we get closer. But again, we got 600,000 shares traded, 4 times what is typical. 1 minute VWAP, the stock traded as high as 29.65, as low as 28.44, with most of it coming in right under 29. And where is it? It's up in this area up in here. So huge jump right here. And where is that? That is just like right at the beginning, 8 Eastern time, when people are just getting up and getting involved, right? On the East Coast, in the New York area. And so huge volume already. And so both of SMB Capital, those are the guys that if you ever check them out on YouTube, they have all these great videos for trading. I've got friends there. In fact, I'm going to brag once again, my guy Max, who has done a couple of their videos, is a former intern of mine, and he's now running a team himself of traders there. He's not even 25 years old, doing fantastically with them. But he is telling me, and of course you can find this from watching the videos, that they really like what they call RVOL, relative volume. So compared to what is happening before, then that creates a situation they call stocks in play. So what is in play today? Mara and Riot. You can bet guys in his shop are trading these stocks today. They're going to look for an opportunity to load up on them. If in fact they think that the thing has staying power, they're going to be buying that at some strategic price, and then they're going to try and load up and hold on for several hours, maybe overnight. Maybe they'll carry that through. Most of the time they don't like to try to carry stuff overnight. But I think what that means is that there's a very strong chance you'll get a good move today and possibly grab enough attention that it'll carry on. But regardless of what those guys do in the shop, What the Bitcoin traders or the Ethereum traders do is going to make both of these stocks, have a big impact on them. If Ethereum and Bitcoin go higher through the week, these things are going higher through the week. So real good potential. So let's have a look then. How would I think between the two of these, MARA even looks a little stronger, but we do have earnings coming up. So, watch out for that, right? Let's zoom in here and talk about how you could make the MARA trade. So, the big idea for me is keep an eye on Apple and Microsoft. I think there's a good time for this week, but for the next 60 minutes, I mean, we're down to 25 minutes here. What would you buy in the next 25 minutes? Consider these two. So here's a trade setup. Now, full disclosure, I'm not a licensed financial advisor. This is not a recommendation for what you should do with your money. This is entertainment purposes. This is high risk. You could lose all the money you put into it. I don't have special knowledge of the future. I have a trader's knowledge, and so I'm going to give you an idea of how I would think it's a good idea to approach this trade, but you have to make your own decisions, risk your own money, and so forth. So be aware of that. There's no guarantees. And if somebody tells you there's a guarantee, then all that's telling you is that you really know for sure there's not a guarantee. So you have to trade as though you don't know the future. You actually end up trading better that way. Not because it works, but because you're prepared. And so when it works, you make more money than you would if you weren't prepared. All right, so I'm going to create a couple of annotations here. It looks like Mara is going to open up 29, way up here, right? But look, this thing goes all over the place, big fluctuation. I'm guesstimating that you could probably bargain shop this a little. Looking for 28. I don't know. I don't think you can go too low. I think it's going to take off right out of the gate. And so probably this is the range, like 28.5 to 29.5, somewhere in there is good. Now, hey, it could open here and could just tank, come all the way back. Could do that. So you're going to keep an eye on Bitcoin and the digital currencies and see how they do. Riot would be the same way. I don't know if I'll have time to go through Riot or not, but whatever I'm saying here is going to apply for Riot as well. So if that's my entry point, where's my stop loss? Okay. Well, I really like the idea normally of trying to buy this and hold on and just let it trend. Problem though, earnings, right? So if we were to try to capture this today at this level, come on, guys. Okay. Then where would we buy it and where would we put our stop loss? Because I feel like what you do is you buy this and then you take your profits and then you get ready for another round because earnings is gonna make some fluctuation, give you another chance to buy in. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to trade my favorite style. In this case, because the gap is so big. I mean, you look back here, you don't see a gap like that. I'm going to put that stop loss not all the way down here. That's where I would normally put it, especially if I wanted to hold on for a trend that's going to continue. So actually, let me just say it that way. If you think I'm going to hold right through earnings, I don't care. I'm HODL, right? So then get your stop loss clear back here and ride that beast and let it come down against you and maybe turn up. If that's what you want to do, give it that much room. If what you want to do is make a profit before earnings and then get ready to jump in, which is more my style, then I am interested in probably putting that about halfway up the gap, right? So I'm going to get in somewhere in this range. I'm going to put a stop loss there. I'm going to risk essentially 28 to 26, $2. Wherever that buys in, I'm going to risk $2, and I'm going to take $1. And you might say, Gordon, you're crazy. What are you talking about? Just buy $1. This thing has the potential to run with cryptocurrencies. Why would you just take the first dollar? You're crazy, because you're going to miss out on this huge other trade. Right. If that's the way you respond to my idea, then that tells you that you're the kind of trader that would prefer to make big wins. If you're the kind of trader who just likes to make sure you win, and you like to win frequently, small consistent gains but frequently, then you will understand why I'm doing this. Because what I want to do is I want to grab this, catch it, and I want to do it again, over and over again. I want to win 70% of the time or better. And how am I going to do that? I'm going to take these small things. I'm going to risk $2 per share to make $1 per share. That's going to give me a baseline setup of 66.6% winning percentage. If I have an edge, if I have a good idea, and in this case I do, we've got something that's going up with Bitcoin. We've got Bitcoin and all cryptocurrency hitting new commitment level money coming in, and we've got high relative volume before the opening. So that's all of this, right? The real strong likelihood that we have 28.94 as support, that this heavy VWAP or this heavy volume at price range, that's going to be support after the market opens. So I don't think there's a big chance to get the 28.50. I think you're going to have to buy right around 29, and so that's why I'm saying this is your range. Try to grab it in this range. Now, what is the current quote? Let's see. I'm going to bring up the order panel here, close the headlines, and we're going to open our paper trading. As you can see, that Microsoft trade that I put on a while ago was pretty awesome. The other stuff is already out. It's already closed. We had some winners from 2 weeks ago. FAZ turned out to be a loser, but these are the ones that still have writing. And of course, Microsoft is fantastic. But here, what is we got 27 by 29. So we're at 29.70 is where the pre-market is right now. Very, very possible that we, I just feel like we're going to get that fluctuation, but it's possible that we're not. It's possible it's going to open wherever it opens and take off. And so if you're the kind of person who, I want to buy this and I want to, cut my risk as tight as can be, well, then you're going to buy 29.70 and you're going to set your stop loss at 28.70. You're going to take $1 risk, and it works. If it doesn't work, you're going to be out $1 a share. If it does work, it's going to take off and you're going to make $3 or $4 per share. And so if you're the kind of person that looks at this trade setup and says, Gordon, you're crazy, then probably your setup is buy at the open, put your stop loss down there just under 28, or just under $29, $28.90, $28.80, something like that. And then just hold on. Just let it ride if it will, or take the loss. Now, that kind of trade typically wins only about 35% of the time. And so when you play that way, you have to be the kind of person who loses, gets used to losing, because when you win huge, right? All the big winners pay for all the losers. Babe Ruth, years and years, last century's most famous baseball player, home run record held for several decades. He held the record for the most number of home runs hit in a career. But what most people didn't realize is that he also held the record for the number of strikeouts as well. He struck out more times than any other player up to that point in time. More recently, though, Aaron Rodriguez was the home run king and also the strikeout king. for the Yankees. If you follow American baseball, you know those names. And I just, it's interesting to me that pattern repeats. Why? Well, because that guy specializes in knocking it out of the park. So he's swinging for the fences literally all the time. And, you know, he has a batting average of about 35%. If he hits 35% of the time, he's a fantastic hitter, right? Well, that's the kind of way, that's the mentality you have to take to trade. I know I'm going to strike out more often than not. But when I hit home run, grand slam, you know, something like that, it's going to really pay off. So you have to sort of decide, how are you going to make this trade? Now, as I said, because earnings are coming up, I'm a little nervous about trying to have a tight stop loss trade. I'd rather have a tight profit in front of earnings. So between now and earnings on Mara, I'm much more interested in jumping in, taking the quick profit. After earnings are done, okay, I'll play the Babe Ruth trade then. Then I'll come in and take a swing, and we'll see if it runs up. So that's my rationale for sort of trying to describe this setup. I think is a real high probability you buy Mara or Riot, you get in and you can take a quick profit the next day or two, well before earnings. So best possible ideas: Mara, Riot. I would put them equal. Maybe Mara a little higher. Yeah, that's the setup. So I'm going to show you then exactly how I would do that. I'm going to try and bargain shop this. I might miss the trade. I mean, that's the thing. If I just jump on, I might not get that dollar move, right? And so, you know, I totally get that I might miss this trade, but I'm going to come in here at a limit. And I'm going to set my exits as well. So limit order, I'm going to put a limit order at 29.51 actually. Is it already down to 29.40? Yeah, so I'm going to hit this. I'm going to get this 29.51. Don't want to pay more than that because I want room to make sure that I can take the profits up here at 30.50 and 27.50 as the stop, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and buy the upper edge of this. Oh, I have that down at 29, but that should be right there, and that should be, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna buy the upper edge of that, 29.50, and I want to take profit $1 higher, and I want to have my stop loss $2 lower. On high probability of win there, and I think that there is. I want to risk 1% of that account, which in this case is a $200,000 paper trading account. Okay, so if I were sizing to that account, I would be actually buying 1,133 shares. I'd round this to 1,200, say. Let's go there. Now, if I only had a $2,000 account, I would be buying 12 shares. Okay, see that? If I had a $20,000 account, I'd be buying 120 shares. Why? Because I want to buy the right number of shares that if I lose $1, then I'm only going to lose 1% of my account. I'm going to risk about $240 here. That's because I have a $200,000 account. So let me make sure I get the risk right. If I had a $20,000 account, I would only want to risk $200. Okay. If I had a $2,000 account, I'd only want to risk $20. So that's the number of shares. 10 units if I only had, so I'd just buy 10 shares if I only had a $2,000 account. And you say, well, why not put all of it in? Well, okay, you want to lose all of it? I mean, it's just, why make this the most important trade ever of your trading account's life, right? Why do you only live once, buy this thing, GameStop at 483? Yeah, it worked out so well. Yeah. So no. 1% of your account is the amount you risk. How do you make sure you do that? You do this. You do this little math over here. You say, what is my total? What is 1% of my total? If it's 200,000, then this is 2,000. right? That's the amount I'm risking. How many shares does that mean? That means I buy 1,000 shares, because if it goes down $1, I'm out $2,000, right? So that's the answer there. One thing I love about this TradingView situation, even if you don't trade through TradingView, you can come here and they've got this nice, I just want to put on 1% risk. Just tell me what is my account size, right? Come in here and adjust your paper trading to be your actual account size. Then you can do this and it'll do the math for you. Or you can just be good at math and figure it out yourself. 1% of your account, what's the risk? How much am I, oh, sorry, stop loss is $2, not $1. What's the stop amount, and then the number of shares, and this number of shares times the amount of stop loss, and that's the quantity I'm risking. Okay, there it is. I'm going to try to take profit at half of that. So in this trade, I'm actually only trying to make about $1,130 for this paper trade account, and so that's what I want. Anyway, I'm going to put this order on. Wait, hang on a second. This looks like it's coming way down at 28.50 after hours. Well, that's okay. See, if I put in 29.51, I'm willing to buy up to 29.51, but it'll put me in wherever, right? I mean, whatever the price is. And the nice thing here about this stop loss is it's going to be $2 lower of wherever I go. I might have to adjust these numbers. We'll see. But wherever I get in, that's where I want to be $2 lower than that. So that would be like 26.50. This has got me at 27.50. Stop loss is 200 below. So I don't know whether this is going to make me have a 27.50 or it's actually going to give me 20 below. I know this is 97 above. Yeah, I don't know. I think what I need to do is be extra careful, and see, we're back at 29.40. Coming in 6 minutes to the open. Let me get this in. Oops. 27.50. We'll leave it right there. Yeah. Okay. 27.50 for the stop, 30.50 for the win, and I'm going to put that order into the system, and we'll see what it does here in just 6 minutes. There's the drama. All right, that's the setup. Okay, we go over here to Riot. I'm just going to do one of these because there's no reason to double up the trade. However, if you were more interested for whatever reason in Riot as opposed to Marathon, then how would you set it up? Well, where's Riot? Riot is at 33 essentially, opening right up in here. There we go. And so you'd have like $1 range, and then you'd have your stop loss, $1 or $2 lower. Whatever your stop loss is, half of that amount is your profit target. That's the way you do it. I gotta say, I think this thing has more, just compared to where it's open and where it could go. I feel like this thing has more upside than Marathon. Just looking at the chart. So, all right, those are the setups. So let's ask here for questions. Is it making sense to you? Because if it's not making sense, then I need to know. So hopefully that setup is clear enough. And I've got this one in paper trading. We're going to be keeping track of these, and after several of them, then I'll be able to pull these out and let you see what it is. So we've got Mara is the trade, and then it's, of course, keep an eye out for Microsoft and Apple in the week to come. Oh, let's review those real quick before the market opens. We got 3 minutes here. I'm going to run over here and quickly look at Apple. What would be the price we'd try to pick Apple up? I think that you can bargain shop this thing because fluctuation. It just seems like there's a lot of times where Apple will, do good news, and then people sell off. All the hedge funds take their profit, right at the open, and then all of a sudden people come in and buy. I like the idea of Apple being able to be picked up somewhere in this range right in here. Let's call that 144.5 to 146.5. Splitting the difference will be 145.5. Okay, so generally speaking, if you target the idea that you're getting in at 145.5, move that down. No, yeah, 145.80 or so. Then if you pick it up here, where's your stop loss going to be? Okay, I'm going to change that to be a red arrow. I'm going to put the stop loss down below that. Give that a color. We'll come back and look at what this trade looked like. And then what am I going to do for take profit? Well, in this case here, I think this is at least twice as far. So 142 to 146.4. So I want to see $8 to the upside, 154. Not interested in taking profit until I get up into this level. That's the trade setup. Is that right? I might have that looked for. Oh yeah, 153. Yeah. And so actually what I want to do is once I see it hit 153, not that I want to take that profit because I think there's a longer trend at play here. Then I want to move the stop loss to break even, maybe even add a little more. And then as it keeps going higher, slowly move that up. And hopefully we'll get a chance to talk about this for the next couple of weeks of how we will manage the Apple trade, assuming it goes up. So tech is probably pretty good sector, in my opinion. Now, I say that even though I'm watching everybody sell down, except tech hasn't been selling off. We were watching finance, energy, and so forth. People come in and the reports are good and the stock sells off. But Netflix, it sold off, but it's found support and it's inching back up. Crypto taken off. So this, Apple sold off here, but this isn't a sell-off. This is certainly not a sympathy sell-off to the rest of the market. So I think tech is setting up for people to buy in and buy bigger gains. And so that's what I'm looking at there. All right, we're about to watch the market open. Going to run back over to let's do Mara on and see how they open. Just any second now, we'll get a clue on how that's going to shake out. And let's see, do we have an order screen? I'm in sales or anything like that? Here we go. There's Mara. All right, so I definitely should have gotten a fill already. It opened clear down there. There's the order. The stop is at 27.51. That's really close. So I want to hurry and get in there and lower that stop because I got in at 28. So I've got to change my stop so that I'm at 26. Let's change the stop. Oh, that's FTech. Whoops, where's my... So it's not publishing the fact that I got a position there. I want to get in here and modify this one. Did that like, oh, wow. So, all right, live and learn here. The way I did this paper trade, you remember I was uncertain if it was going to go $2 lower. So I just bought that in. Okay, I'm going to fix that by just going after it and doing that again. So we're coming right into that area, which I thought was good to do anyway. So let's do order panel and redo that order. We're going to, there we go. Everything's all set. So I could just do it over again from here. This time I got the stop loss set at 26.46. So unfortunately, the way that worked out was that it didn't put me $2 lower than where I wanted. If I had been doing that real money, I would have actually lost that trade. Thank goodness that didn't happen. But now I have this set up to be 26.50. I have that position running. And so there's the position open. There's Mara right now. Okay. All right. Riot would be similar, of course. And let me take that away. All right. So what we're looking for then is to take this at 29.50. Since we were able to get it at 28.50, then if Marathon gets up to there anytime the next couple days, it's going to take that profit $1 higher from where I got in, or $2 lower. I'll go ahead and take the loss. All right, that's the setup. Until we get together next time, take care, trade well.